Awesome. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. You're here watching the FERN webinar from Element Society. We're going to talk about what FERN is. This is for teachers and educators primarily, and then we'll be hosting another workshop, another webinar shortly for organizations specifically. So you can feel free to watch both. We're going to cover some of the same stuff, but a little bit directed towards those two audiences. Ella, do you want to run us through the agenda?
Absolutely. So we're going to give you a little bit of an introduction as to who myself and Kaylee are, who Elements is as well, and then we will talk a bit more about what FERN is and how you can use it as a teacher. And then at the end, we'll have some time for questions as well. Feel free to put those questions into the chat if you are inspired at some point. Otherwise, yeah, we'll have some time at the end to be able to do that. Okay. So as was said, my name is Ella. I am based on the traditional and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations in Vancouver and working in schools all around Vancouver. I am a manager of the education programs, and I work mainly in zero waste education at the moment with Elements. I'm also looking after FERN, so I'm on the back end of lots of those FERN emails. I'm really excited to share this resource with you. And this is Kaylee.
Hello, yes, I'm Kaylee. I'm the executive director here at Element Society. I am based out of Calgary, just east of the Tsuut'ina First Nation. Calgary is also home to the Blackfoot Confederacy, so the Siksika, Kainai, and Piikani First Nations, Chiniki, Bearspaw, Goodstoney First Nations, and the Métis First Nations of Alberta. I have been with the organization for about 3.5 years. And before that, I was an elementary school teacher. And I'm really excited to share about FERN because this is something that I really wish existed when I was a school teacher. So, yeah, that's a general introduction to us. We're going to go a little bit into into Element Society as well. We're obviously going to go into FERN. But just as a little sort of who are we and what are we doing with our organization? So Element Society is a nonprofit environmental education, primarily delivering programs in Calgary as well as Metro Vancouver. We also have some partners who deliver programs in Kelowna, and we do run 3 programs, Zero Waste Place, Eco Cooks, and Voyage Zero Déchet, or Journey to Zero Waste. And again, the point of the webinar today isn't to go into those programs specifically, but we just wanted to give some context about why our organization decided to take on this project. So feel free to go to our website if you have any other questions about the programs that we deliver. But of course, we'll focus a little bit more in on FERN today. So I'll pass that off to Ella while I change screens here.
Fantastic. Okay, so this is FERN, and we're excited to show you this website because we know as an organization that delivers environmental education and is connected to lots of other people who also deliver environmental education, there are so many resources, programs, and opportunities out there, but it's tricky as a teacher to find them sometimes. And so we created FERN to be a centralized place where you can find environmental education opportunities to bring them into your classroom. So it's all about connecting teachers with organizations. In the future, from the information and the data that we get from Elements, we're also really hoping to be able to have a look at the state of environmental education in BC and Alberta, and then wider across Canada, so that we can analyze the gaps, provide information to funders, to organizations, to schools, so that people can use that information to push for different areas or different topics that need more programs so that we can really understand their value. This was launched publicly in January. It's still currently in the beta phase as we get warmed up and get a bit more familiar with it. But we are really excited to share it with you initially. It's going to be great. Okay.
Thanks, Ella.
So lots of different things happening on this website, but basically it's a search engine to be able to find educational resources now. And so Kaylee's going to walk you through how you can find those resources.
Amazing. Thanks, Ella. So first of all, I guess the first part is how do you find this website? So there's a couple different ways. You can go to our main homepage, and there's a banner just at the top here that says Discover FERN. Right now we have our register for FERN webinars, of course, but this will kind of hang out there. And then we also have a tab here that says Introducing FERN. So if you click on that, it will pop you right to the website. The other way you can get there is just searching, FERN. If you just type in FERN, usually we won't come up. But if you type in FERN and Element Society, you should get a couple different posts to click on. Our media release there or Instagram post, or again, just directing you back to our website. So a couple different ways to find us. But once you do get there, this is what our website will look like. So searching basics, what to do when you get here. So the first thing to note is that you as a teacher or an organization do not need a login. You'll see this part of the top where it says like listing organizations or sign in or join. Don't worry, as a teacher, just looking for resources, you can just hop right into the website and you'll notice that as soon as you scroll down, you'll see all of those resources listed. There's lots of environmental programs. So we're kind of under this umbrella of environmental education. There's lots of, things that fall within that. And so, of course, we have ways to filter and access and figure out which resources and programs are going to work best for you. So we've got a couple, I'll just scroll back up here. We've got a couple preset filters. So these are really great if you're looking for free resources, for example, or only in-person opportunities, or perhaps you're listed in a province that we're not yet sort of focused on yet, and you want to make sure to be able to access this where you are, or you're teaching one of these things. So maybe I'll just click on free, and it will filter, and you'll see that it's showing 46 results. So that's great. That means there's 46 programs or resources that are completely free for you to access. You'll see at the top here where it says free. So that's your indication that that program or resource that you're looking at is indeed free. You might have some, I'll see if I can find one. Oh, no, just kidding. That would be under paid. There's a couple other options that I'll show you later, but there might be also programs that do have a cost, but they also have bursaries available. So that's another thing you can kind of filter by. I guess if I click and show you here. So these are a couple other options. So preset filters, great way to just jump in and start exploring things. And then if you scroll down a little bit further, you'll see where it says, or choose your own filters. And so when organizations fill out their program or resource, they're going to put in all this wonderful information that allows you as the teacher to search for what works for you. So for example, if you are teaching grade 1, or you're looking for, sort of grade 1 through 3 or K through 3, you can use that to select off a bunch of different grade levels. If you are specifically looking for a certain subject that it connects with. So you want to make sure that it's connecting to the science curriculum, or that it's focused on sort of science. So lots of different ways to filter. I won't go into all of them here, but just know that there's a couple different options. And maybe the caveat with this is that obviously the more filters that you select, the more restricted it's going to be. So if you're choosing, if you're clicking off everything, you're like, oh, I'd love it to be in person for this grade level, you might not get as many. So maybe just try doing a couple to start, and then you can kind of get into, kind of work your way backwards. So maybe I'll just start with this one where we'll do grade 1 in person, and I want it to be free. And then I can click apply filters here. And again, it will show me that there's 5 results. That's pretty great. One of them is ours. I promise that wasn't it wasn't a plug, but we've got our program here, Zero Waste Place. We also have EduKits from the Biosphere Institute of the Bow Valley. And again, you'll see that these connect with those filters that we put in. So you can make sure to filter that to what you would like. The other thing that you can use here is our little keyword search. So this is really great for, you can see some of the things that I've searched before. If you aren't maybe finding what you need using those filters or the preset filters, you could, for example, if you know you just want to look for something outdoor related, we do have a location filter, but this is showing that we have an outdoor environmental education lesson plans, again, from the Biosphere Institute. So you can kind of see that maybe it will pull from the text, but the filters are a great way to kind of start and get into what you'd like to search, and then the outdoor one. Or maybe for example, that there was this program called Eco Cooks. You can't really quite remember how it was delivered or things like that. I have it selected for, I know why it's not working, because I have all my filters on, and we know that Eco Cooks, or I know that Eco Cooks isn't available for grade 1. So again, you can, if you are getting that 0 entries, just try to remove some of the filters. You can clear all the filters at once and just sort of start over. So the search keyword thing is great for just sort of helping to narrow down those searches for you. Perfect. I think I'm going to pass it over to Ella, and we're going to go through a listing.
Amazing. Indeed, we are. Okay. So once you have found or done your search, filtered out some of the things that you need to bring a program into your classroom, you can have a look at what the different listings look like. So this is what they look like in their brief form. This is like a snapshot of the program and tells you a few different things. So it will tell you where it can be delivered, what different ages, what it's connected to, what subjects and topics it covers, and a brief description of the program. If you're intrigued by that initial look, you can click Show Details, and then it will give you a more full description of what the program looks like. So that will include specifics on how the program is delivered, where it's delivered, if it's an hour-long session, if it's multi-sessions, what different accessibility needs can be accommodated by this program, and then also more information on how to register as well. This will also tell you a bit more about who the program, is aimed at. So it might be quite a broad range or quite specific in some ways. It will also tell you, if you scroll to the top, Kaylee, to that top bar, you can see in the dark square there, it says program. So it will tell you if it's either a program or a resource. So a program is something where an organization will come in and deliver something to your class, either virtually or in person, or you can go to them. And then a resource would be something that would be available to be downloaded and then delivered by the teacher yourself. You can also see, as Kaylee said, that you can find in that top section whether it's free, what the cost is per class, and if there are any bursaries available. Did you have anything to add to what is covered in a listing, Kaylee?
I don't think so. I think the only other thing maybe to point out, but it's kind of tucked at the bottom here, you can see when that was last updated. Just again, another way to kind of see what's current. But otherwise, yeah, all of those filters that we showed at the top, that's sort of how it appears in the listing. So you can kind of see how those two pieces connect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Okay. So then a couple of other things from me is that you can see here that you can share the listing. So if you just share the link from the top of the page, that will not be specific to the program if you're sharing that with a colleague or something. But if you click share listing, it will give you a specific link to that program that you can then share with your colleagues or save for yourself to come back to look at later. Another mention on this is that we have teacher recommendations as a feature on this website. And so in some listings, you will see that some programs have been teacher recommended. This is an option for organizations to be able to send links out to teachers, participants of their program, and teachers can choose to recommend the program or not for their specific locations. It's really great if you participate in a program, if you can provide recommendations on the program, just vouchers for that program a little bit more, that other teachers know that it is a good thing to participate in. You'll also notice at the bottom, there's a little heart and it says add to list. So Kaylee is going to show us what a favorites list looks like.
Perfect. Yeah, so there's a little heart button there. And maybe I'll just go, oh, I only have the two, but that's okay. We'll do what we've got up here. So I'll add these two programs to my list. So as you're scrolling through, you'll find some programs that, ooh, oh, I really like the sound of that. So you can kind of scroll, add them to your favorites list. And then you can go check out your list and kind of compare the programs and narrow that down. So you can do that if you scroll all the way up to the top here, just below the choose your own filters, and click view your list. And it will spit you out to another page. And it's a couple things to note here. So you can make sure to save this as it says here. The lists are not saved between website visits, but when you share a link to a list, that link will not expire. So that means that if I've saved this, I'm like, oh, I've got all my resources saved. This is awesome. And then I exit my browser, I close my tab. When I come back, it won't save it. So what I can do is a couple of things. I can email that to myself. So it'll just have that unique URL. I can copy the link to the list. So it creates a custom link. That's where the data is saved, or that those favorites are saved. You can share that. Again, something similar. You can share it with someone else and be like, hey, look at these resources. Check out anything that you think might be relevant for someone else. And then, of course, you can also clear the list and start over again. But just, again, trying to make sure that this first part is, we don't want anyone to be sad that they lost their list of favorites, but it's hard to do that without a login. So this is the workaround that we've come up with. It seems to work pretty well. So just make sure to save that link to your favorites before you leave the website. Yeah, so those are sort of how favorites work. And again, there's kind of other links embedded, so you can always pop back to the home page and navigate around using that. The other thing that Ella is going to address in a moment here. The only we don't have too many pages on it, but one of the pages or sections that we do have is an FAQ section here. So I was going to go through a couple of those more important ones.
Indeed, I am. Okay, so as we said, we've got the FAQ section. We've got a section for teachers and a section for organizations. Obviously, you will be looking at the FAQs for teachers. I want to highlight in this, if you have any questions or you'd like to provide any feedback or suggestions for FERN, then you are welcome to email us, fern@elements-society.org. And we really welcome your suggestions, especially while this website is in beta version. We're still learning what different features teachers need and what comes up. So please do let us know. And so then a couple of different things for this one that I want to highlight is the locations. And so we have put all of the locations into the information that the organizations can put into a listing. So when an organization creates a listing, they can be really specific with which school districts in Alberta and BC especially their program is available in. And so we have included in this link which links to different maps so that you can find out which school district you're in if you are not entirely sure. That might be especially helpful if you want to do an in-person program, and so you need to know what's actually physically close to you. So that is one thing to highlight. And then again, just highlighting that those recommendations, that is for the organization who delivers your program or resource to send out to you as a teacher. And then that specific link, when you submit it, it will ask for your name and your location. That's just for our like internal tracking details. And so that we know like if the program is delivered in multiple locations, for example, Eco Cooks, one of our programs, the school Eco Cooks is delivered in Calgary and Vancouver. We want to be able to for teachers to be able to say, yes, this was delivered to me in Vancouver, and I recommend the Vancouver program specifically. Yeah. Did you want to highlight anything else from this list, Kaylee?
No, I think we kind of went through some of the other FAQs. So again, I sort of talked about this one at the beginning, just trying to make your search a little bit broader at the initial start. So if you click too many things, you might not be able to see what you want. So just start a little bit broad. Favorites list, again, we went over this, but if you forget any of the information that we went through on the webinar, this FAQ section is a great way to sort of refresh yourself on some of those questions you might have. And if there's a question here that has not been answered, we're going to have, a little question answer after this. If we keep getting asked those same questions, it lets us know maybe if we need to update the FAQ. So yes, as Ella said, please do send us feedback. If you notice something, it doesn't look like quite right, or, oh, I really wish that it could do this. We're really open to feedback, especially in this first bit, because if you have a question or a suggestion, it's likely that there's a bunch of other teachers who had been having the same question. So yeah, do let us know.
Absolutely. Okay. We've got some time for some questions now. Does anyone have any questions about FERN or about elements that we can answer at the moment?
And you can pop those into the chat if you'd like, or if you want to unmute, you can also unmute and just sort of speak those as well.
Elena has asked, could you show us some of the lesson plans? That's a really interesting question because lesson plans would not be listed on FERN specifically. We will have links to organizations that can provide lesson plans. And so that would often be if we're choosing it to be a resource, then Haley's just searching for it now. You will be able to find that resource, go to that specific organization's website, and then you would be able to find the lesson plan on their website.
Yeah. Let's go see what Ducks Unlimited might have because they were the first one. Amazing, some bilingual education resources. So I'm thinking, okay, so this was sort of their newsletter link. Interesting. So let's see if we can let's go in a little bit more specifically. We'll see. Maybe this isn't the best one if their link isn't the right link. Okay, I'm gonna go back and see if there's another link that spits us out into a better spot. Let's try this one. CPAWS, climate change and anxiety. So as you can see, it'll look quite different depending on the organization. And it looks like if I kind of scroll down here, perfect. So it says these lesson plans are well structured, easy to use, time needed. I'll keep scrolling here. We've got some curriculum links, materials needed, downloaded below. So if I keep going here, it looks like this is one where you can kind of click on this and it will probably download or pop open with the PDF. There we go. So this is an example of one of the lesson plans that CPAWS has put together. for grade 5, climate change and anxiety. This sounds super cool. I now want to go explore this resource. But yes, of course, it'll look different depending on the organization and how they've put that together. So yeah, so this is a really great example of something you as a teacher could pop in and hopefully use right away. Good question though, Lena. Do
Perfect.
we have some other questions, Ella?
That's the only question so far. So feel free to ask another one, but otherwise, I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about what's gonna happen with Fern in the future. So, um, as we said, Fern is currently in beta, but it's going to be like fully launched and polished once it's had some time out in the open for people to experience it and for us to be able to gather data from it as well. And so so what we're looking for now for Fern is we are hoping to start promotion to teachers. So making this a go-to site for finding environmental education programs for teachers across BC and Alberta, while at the same time, we want to make sure that we're still getting organizations that are listing. So if you know any organizations that are amazing and you don't think they're on Fern yet, please share Fern with them so that they can come and put their programs on this website. And also, you've attended today or watched the webinar, please share Fern with your colleagues so that more people can find environmental education that suits them. If you do have any feedback on Fern, then please let us know, send us an email. It's been really positive so far with people saying, teachers saying that this is a very necessary resource. It's amazing to have somewhere to be able to search and filter out the different results that we need. And then at the moment, we're focused in BC and Alberta because that's where Elements currently runs, but then really hoping to look further across Canada in the future. Yeah, that's what we're hoping for the future of Fern. Lots of exciting stuff. And then, as I said at the beginning as well, working on a state of environmental education report along with that so that we can identify gaps and opportunities for environmental education across Canada. Yeah. Um, if you do have any other questions, please feel free to ask, send us an email. Otherwise, do you have any closing comments, Kaylee?
No, just thank you guys so much for watching. And as Ella said, hoping to sort of get the word out there. So please feel free to share. And otherwise, I think we're gonna end the webinar. So thank you so much for joining, everyone. And please feel free to reach out. Amazing. Now I just have to find